Hi, everybody. I'm welcoming you first of all to session 0 of the web design course. And at the beginning of every module, I like to do a quick walkthrough of what we're working on for that session, should I say. Sometimes I use session or I say module, and they're kind of interchangeable, but I prefer the word session. So I'm on the home page of our course. And from here, in order to get into any content session, you'd click the content button, and then you have a table of contents here on the left. This will show us all of our sessions as time goes on. They'll all kind of stack up here, and I promise you I'm going to try to get them open as fast as I can. I think I can open up the next one pretty quickly, but it's just a matter of taking what Dr. Bradford has created and just making it my own a little bit. He and I have a slightly different way of presenting information. I'm using a lot of his verbiage. I'm using all of his instructions pretty much, but he just has a slightly different design thing. So I'm redesigning it a little bit in my own sort of style, but other than that, it's the course that he's designed. And so that shouldn't take me too long to do that. And so I should have session 1 up probably by Wednesday or Thursday of this first week. And again, like I said, those will start stacking up here, and then it shows the number of objects or items that are in this particular session. For example, has 4. And I'm sorry for those of you that have taken the online class in D2L. You may already know all of this. I'm kind of talking to anyone who may not know how to move through the class. Also, as an online instructor, you can never assume that people know what to do, because other instructors may have used the platform in a different way. So I just need to be really clear how I use it. So for any session, the way I like to do it is I like to put a checklist at the beginning that summarizes the main things that you want to kind of get through. And then I have a welcome page, and that's where this particular video will be, to sort of greet you and try to walk you through this if you need it. I usually don't try to add any extra information in the video, though, that's besides what's in here. So technically you should usually not have to even watch this video. If you find them hard to watch, you could probably hit pause or stop. But on this page is where I welcome you to the session with this video, and I usually write out the objectives for the session. And then I have other pages that in the orientation session it'll be different. This is the orientation session, but in later sessions it'll be slightly different. Here I want you to go through the syllabus, course plan, and communication stuff, and then here are some activities that you want to do during this session. You can check items off as you complete them. You can check them off here. You can check them off through the checklist itself. Okay, the checklist I did not set up correctly. Apparently I need to fix that. And that's not good for this demo, but the way it should work when you get to the checklist is each checklist will have a box, and you can actually click it and it will save that you have actually done it. So I'll recreate that and have that up by 7 p.m. on Monday night. And the checklist is helpful because it tells you need to watch the welcome video, read the syllabus, read the course plan for the big picture, use the course questions and answers board throughout the semester, fill out the Hewitt student contact form, update your profile if you need to, complete an assignment, and introduce yourself. And that's all you really have to do this session, but it'll take a little time. So to access all of that, just click this right-hand arrow and move through these several little pages. So as you can tell, the first week is not meant to scare you. It's really just meant to get you oriented. Here's the syllabus. I did update the syllabus from the version given on Monday morning, and I tell you inside of the syllabus exactly what I updated, because I find it annoying when people post a syllabus and then they update it and you have no idea what they changed. And you may have read the previous version, so I try to accommodate that. So basically what I did was I added to the required software section on pages 5 and 6. So go check that out. Most of the software, pretty much we can get by on free and available software. If you're sort of finicky, you can spend extra money on something like Dreamweaver. We may have to knock our heads together, though, to find some of the required software. For example, and I say this because I've used this kind of software on a PC, what I'm talking about here is the WYSIWYG editor, the what you see is what you get HTML authoring programs. This is where you can pay for Dreamweaver. And you can pay for a light version of Dreamweaver probably that's like $100, but you're still paying a pretty, good amount of money. So I think there should be a WYSIWYG HTML authoring program for Mac users. It's the Mac users I'm mostly concerned about. If you're a Microsoft user, then Microsoft Expression Web should work fine. So this is something we're going to look into. So don't freak out if you're a Mac user and you don't have any idea what you're going to do for the WYSIWYG. You can pay for Dreamweaver if you want to, but if that's not something you want to do, then we need to figure out what program you want to use. And it could be that some people in our class will know. It could be Dr. Bradford can advise on that. We can do internet research. I mean, I have a Mac that I'm on right now, and I can certainly play with some tools and see if I can find something. But we don't have to do this yet. This isn't until session 2, so we have a little time yet to come up with a solution on that. File compression utilities are pretty much ubiquitous on computers, so not a big deal. It's basically to make a zipped file. It's when you create a folder on your computer, and then you want to zip it so that you can upload that into CourseDen. That's all it is. But here's some resources in case you have a super old computer from like 2001 or something. It's possible that you would need a file compression utility. Photo and graphics software, we should be fine with tools that are freely available. You can use Adobe Photoshop, that'd be fantastic, but that one does cost money. The GIMP is one that I've used on PC, and I believe that it's also on Mac. So I'm a pretty new Mac user myself, so I'm not totally sure. And again, we can kind of knock our heads together, and I think we can find a solution to all of these needs. Again, it's just the WYSIWYG for Mac that I have kind of a question mark about. But I think most of the other software, you guys should have no issues obtaining. I will make a quick comment about the textbooks. This is the textbook that teaches you how to design for the web, and it does cost money. It's about $26. And again, Dr. Bradford created this course, but it seems like a book that you want to purchase. So if you're going to ask me, do I really need this book? To the best of my knowledge, I mean, according to Dr. Bradford, yes, you need this book. According to his design, you need this book. It seems like it'll be very helpful if you have it. It doesn't seem terribly expensive. I hate for you to spend $1 on it, but I would recommend that you get it. I need to say you're required to get it. You really should get it. And then this book, fortunately, is on eBrary, and I think we should have no problems accessing it through that. You can also buy it if you want online. I don't think it's terribly expensive on Amazon, for example. But yeah, you can access it through the Galileo. All right, so I'm kind of getting long-winded here. Let me go back here. All right, so you want to check out the syllabus. You want to, and by check out, I mean read it. Give it that whole good hour and learn about various things, expectations. There's a great explanation of the class in there. I was going to give you a great explanation of the class, like with a visual of what this class is all about, but I'm going to have to wait on that. So do read in the syllabus because it will explain the major course assignments. Basically, and I'll tell you, I'll look at the course plan to kind of explain it. Basically, we're going to start out with HTML basics. So in session 1, you're going to open up a text editor and you're going to be coding in HTML just to kind of learn the rudiments of HTML coding and how web pages are sort of made up. Then we're going to use a tool called a WYSIWYG, or what you see is what you get editor, something like Dreamweaver. There used to be a program, and it still may be updated, called InView that I used to use. That's free. And you could even use, I think you can still do this, where you can actually use Microsoft Word. There's Microsoft Expressions Web. So these are tools that they're more like software where they actually help you to do this work of writing HTML. So, it's more automated. Okay, so we're going to sort of skip past HTML coding by hand, by typing, and move on to WYSIWYG web design. Then we're going to take a moment to learn about 508 compliance and look at some multimedia design principles. This is a group assignment, by the way. These will take place on the discussion boards. In session 4, we will look at copyright and fair use laws to make sure that when we design, we're using materials appropriately, we're citing others appropriately, and we're basically not ripping off others. But to an extent, as educators, we are allowed to borrow a little bit from others. So that's kind of what we're going to look at there. It's another group project. We're going to look at ways of evaluating websites, and you guys are going to kind of devise some strategies for evaluation. And then those strategies will come in handy later, where you see down here it says evaluate. But I'll talk to you about that again in a moment. The big project in the class is to create a plan for an instructional website, and then to actually sort of build that website and publish it. And then in the end, after everybody's sort of built their, they've planned and they've built their website, then you guys will actually use each other's evaluation sort of guidelines to evaluate the final product. So more on that later. That's a really short, really fast explanation of what the class is. But basically, you're going to build a website. That's the sort of culminating thing. And before we do that, we're going to look at a number of guidelines. You guys are going to get to choose some guidelines as well that you think matter. And you know, again, you're going to do a little rudimentary building and practicing before you build your big one at the end. And then you're going to use some evaluation guidelines to look at yours and a couple of classmates in the end. And then there's a final reflection. So that's kind of like the big picture of the class. So I just snuck that in here, didn't I? And making this video extra long. All right, so the course plan is there to help you give you that big picture. And let me make sure I've covered everything. So looking at orientation activities, make sure you complete the Hewitt student contact form if you want me to know that you've contacted me. It really helps me when I look at my cell phone and I know that people that are talking to me are from which class you're from, or when you call to know that you're actually one of my students. Otherwise, I might assume you're a telemarketer and not answer. Updating your CourseDen profile would be good if you want folks to know a little bit about you. This A1 reflection, this is our first official assignment of this class. It'll take a little time, but it shouldn't be too hard. It's really just you kind of telling me through the Dropbox a few things about yourself, but you're also writing content. So when in the syllabus you're urged to take your writing seriously, this is something where you want to do good writing, because what you write here is a draft of what will form content for the very next assignment. So you're going to modify this for that next assignment, depending on what you're comfortable with putting in that assignment. Then this is an assignment I always try to keep in my classes. I like to have a discussion board where you introduce yourself, and I just decided to give you guys some extra credit, but please make sure you introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, and respond to 2 folks, and you'll get 10 points extra credit, which may come in handy later in the class. I'm using Screencast-O-Matic to make this video, so I have a 15-minute limit, which is really good to put a limit on me. But, so I need to hustle, don't I? I think I'm going to have a meeting Sunday, December 11th in the evening. I say I think because I do have to go on a trip early the next morning to Alabama to the Space Center with my son. So I'm kind of leaving this open for now. I'm not totally committed just this moment, but I'd like to give you guys a few days to kind of go through the class, and then if y'all want to tune in on Sunday night, and if it works out for me, then we can meet and chat and you can ask questions. Let me pause and make sure that there's not something else I wanted to say. I thought I had something brilliant to say, but it's just not coming to me, so we'll let it go. And I promise future welcome videos should be no more than about 4 or 5 minutes. That's my rule that I try to stick to, but it's always very hard in the beginning because I have to over-explain just in case. And I don't know. It's just, I think things take longer to explain in the very beginning, don't you think? Like when you're introducing your students to things, you kind of have to really explain things. Unfortunately, we can't explain the whole world in 2-minute videos all the time. So that's just the way it goes. But I promise you, I try to make it shorter as we move forward. All right, guys. Thanks so much, and good luck with session 0. Let me know what questions you have. You can send me messages or post in the course questions and answers board. Thanks.